What is up, everyone? Welcome to the live stream where we're going to go in depth on some animations. Thanks for taking the time away from the Thread app because I know that we're all there right now. Let's get into some animations. So today we're just going to hop into the animations that I have been working on. I've been getting lots of feedback on like how I did certain things, and to be able to create a whole tutorial YouTube video on it, I just figured I would do a live stream because we could raise some money for the kiddos while we're doing this. So basically this whole stream, I'm doing this all for free. I'm spending my own time. I'm actually paying my moderator here, Christian. Christian, say hi.
Hello.
Oh, you said hi. So everything is coming out of my pocket just because I want to make this a thriving thing. And I also want to raise some money for the kids. So basically the money will go to JumpStart Designers, which is my nonprofit focused on getting computers and digital art programs to kids. And why not you guys benefit from it too and learn some animations while we do that. So today let's hop into this animation. So I'm going to show you what we're working with today. We got a lot going on. So we have a little bit of After Effects, a little bit of Cinema 4D, a little bit of Unreal. I mean, name a program that we're not working in, even Procreate. So we got all of it. I want to also talk about like the beginning, middle, and end process of this because I think it's super important too. Like I want to show you guys the animation part of it, but I also want to show like how do I get an idea like this? How does something something like this come to life? And so I'm going to show you that whole process. And if you guys have questions, or you're like, hey, can you like slow down, you're talking too fast, or you're like, hey, what do you think about threads? Let me know, because we're going to be here for like the next hour or so, just talking and hanging out. So thanks for spending your Friday with me. All right, let's hop into this. So I'm going to show you first how this got started. So I think we've all heard of living in your head rent free, like when you can't get somebody out of your head. But the person who's always stuck in my head all the time is myself, because I'm always talking to myself, worried about what I'm doing, and it just becomes a lot. It becomes very overwhelming. So I was like, why don't I put myself in my head? Because I already live there. And so, yeah, I could show you, I think I actually have my iPad here. Do you know what my iPad is? Okay. Oh, it's right here. It was hidden. All right, I'm going to show you guys exactly how this is made. So it first started off on my iPad, because I just started sketching things out, and I figured it would be better to do it digitally than on paper. I used to be a pen and paper type girl when it came to my sketches, but now I've just moved over to this because being able to undo very quickly, or like save something. Like there's times where I'm sketching and I'm like, okay, this is great. This is awesome. This is perfect. And then I keep adding and adding and adding. And then I'm like, this is terrible. Why did I do that? So then I just undo and it's back to normal. You can't do that with pen and paper, but you can with the Procreate. So I started off with a whole bunch of different sketches, but I don't know if you can kind of see this. Oh, thank you, camera. So this was the final sketch. But I did a whole bunch of different versions of it. Let me actually see if I have the fully exported. Okay, perfect. Okay, look at this. So this is kind of where it started. Started with my face in my living room. And then I just start tracing some things out. I thought it would be cool to kind of have multiple levels of it. And I started trying to figure out the perspective of it, just seeing what works. And then I ended up creating, some 3D models in Cinema 4D. I didn't create them from scratch. I used a lot of the assets that are already in Cinema 4D. So if you have Cinema 4D, I believe it'll just allow you to download like 10 gigs of assets that is just kind of like templated stuff on Cinema 4D. But I put a whole bunch of that stuff together and then I threw it back in. So this was the original sketch, but then once I threw everything in, it looked like this. So you could kind of see kind of like a rough idea of it being there. And it always starts out very, let's just say, not cute. And it's okay. Like, I mean, when you're seeing me in these videos, like I'll show you guys all my behind the scenes roughs. But when I'm doing like these visual effects projects, when I'm in the very beginning of it, I look like a mess. I'm not putting on makeup. I'm not fixing my hair. I just need to get it done. And so a lot of times when I show my behind the scenes, I'll be like, oh, this is cute. But in the end, I get all dolled up and then I try to film the final. So you can see kind of the process behind that. But I also want to hop into my inspiration mind. So I'm a big fan of finding references and just looking at other art mediums, so like photography, like street art, sculptures, all that fun stuff. And then I like just having the ability to just get inspired by all of it. I feel like it's not talked about enough. And if any of you guys are artists in here, I just want to let you all know that there's a lot of imposter syndrome that comes with being an artist. And I feel like for me personally, when it came to like getting inspired by another artist or art, I felt like a fraud. Like I felt like, oh my God, why couldn't I just come up with this in my own mind? Like I'm not creative at all. And so that kind of hindered me from like becoming like a better artist. And so I was able to kind of overcome that by looking at inspirational stuff. So let's hop into my ideas folder. And once I show you this, you'll be like, okay, I could start to see where the idea came from. So let's see. This is my folder. I keep my folders very organized. Like everything, like my folders are organized. My room, not so much so. My bathroom, definitely not. But my folders, they're organized. So let's look into my ideas folder. So I have, okay. This is top tier art for me. Adventure Time, I really got obsessed with this isometric look at pieces. So let me see if I could find the first piece that I was like inspired by. There's one piece that I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Look at this. So someone just created like this mannequin that has like a whole bunch of different like pieces on it, and like the eye is a person in there. I love that. And so when I initially had this idea of like living in my head rent free, I immediately went to Pinterest and was like, room in head, living room in head, bedroom in head, like just trying to find any sort of resources, because my thing was I had the idea, but I wanted to get a different perspective on the concept. So for me, I felt like it was important to make sure that I had my idea, but I wanted to make sure that I was doing everything to just make it that much more elevated. And by seeing other people's work, it kind of helped do that. So that was me filming it. But let's see, this, I was obsessed with like the isometric like rooms, like the 3D modeled rooms. I just felt like it was so cool. It felt like a little piece of cake, like taken out. And I just really, really love that. So here were like some of the rooms that I had saved from my Pinterest. And going back to the Adventure Time, this stuff is super amazing. So yeah, I'm very much inspired by other work. But yeah, so when it comes to the whole animation, there's so many different aspects to this full piece that I want to get into. So like I recently did a video talking about how it's like, oh, send me the final export. This is always what my export files look like, because there's so many different technical errors in here, is different from the final piece, which is this one. So I will typically export it out and then realize all of my mistakes, and then I will try to fix them. I need to clean my room. You have time. I always told my mom that people don't remember Einstein for having a clean room. I thought that was smart. But yeah, so this is the final art piece. So you could see I have like a lower frame rate, but there's different elements to this that I want to get into today. So one of the things is this camera blur that I have in here. I got some questions on how to do that. And then obviously just the compositing of myself into the frame, and how we got this 3D world in there. So I am like lots of people where I'm intimidated by 3D programs. They absolutely scare me. So I had this idea, like I had all the isometric like images of like, oh, these are great references. But I was like, I don't know how to achieve this look. And so I was talking about it with my partner, and they're a game developer. So I think Arthur's here. Arthur, say hi.
What's up?
Oh. And so I was like, I need help with this. And they're like, I could help you. So they actually created this in Unreal. So, but I will get into that. But let's start at the very beginning and just kind of break all of this down. So obviously we have just a normal gradient map that is going across this. So I use the Red Giant Universe like plugins, and so you'll see a lot of this like uni dot and then effect. The reason why I use this one over the native gradient is because you have the ability to choose one more color. And it also has these blend modes. So what's great about this is when you are working in this layer, if you have a gradient map on it, so let me just actually show you. So let's add just the traditional gradient map. So I'll just put in map. So this is the native plugin that comes with After Effects. So it just gives you the options of color 1, color 2, and like swap colors. But say I wanted to have the color come in, but I also wanted to have a blending mode on. So with just the gradient ramp, I'm only allowed to change my blending mode here, which is okay. But if I have it on top of another layer and I want it to blend on top of that one and blend in my main comp, it starts to get dicey. So what's great about this is that you can work in this gradient map with Red Giant Universe, and you can change the blend mode in here, which there's going to be times where that definitely comes into play. Always remember that like any sort of plugin that's like not native, a lot of plugins, I won't say all, but there are a big chunk of plugins that will just be more computing on you. So if you have a computer that doesn't do so hot, maybe, you know, use the native ones where you can and use these where it makes sense. So when I initially thought of this, I had a middle color, so you could see kind of that color there, but then I just switched. So then I'll get into this little camera blur. So you'll see that I have all these little masks. So you can see I have like a star glow on it. Let's play this out. So at first it just kind of looks like shimmering little lights. What I did was I created all these little masks, And then I added an expression on each one so that they flickered all at different times. So before, when I had first started, old me would have manually changed the opacity for each individual circle. But now I just go into these masks, and you can see I have a wiggle expression on it. So expressions, you know, we're not going to get into expressions. Why? Because I don't know shit about expressions, but I do know the wiggle expression. So in this, I just kind of set the frequency and what is it? I think it's the amount of times that it moves and the frequency. So this is like, okay, I believe it's like, what's the frequency going to be? It's like 1. If you increase it, then it's going to be like 2. You increase it more, it's going to be like 3. And then the second number is the amount. So for here, I have an opacity of 100%. So I'm going to say for every 1 frequency, like move 100 on the opacity. So it's just going to kind of like move through. So let's kind of I'll show you what this looks like. Let's just create 1080. So if I have, let's say this, and I add a wiggle expression. So wiggle, I want you to, for every 1 time, I want you to go through 100% of the opacity. So then it will, oh, am I in the wrong thing? 1 second. Oh, I think it's so slow that you can't even see it. So you could see it while I toggle through, but once I increase the frequency of it, let's change this to 50, then it'll go a lot faster. So frequency is like how many times it's going to go through. The second number is how much do you want it to happen. So for 100%, I'm going to do that. But if I want to change, I only want it to be 10%. So 50 times, you see there's like a little tiny because it's only 10% of it rather than the full 100%. So that's the idea of those wiggle expressions on that layer. So I have them on every single one. So instead of manually having them, I will just put this expression on it. But you can see in the final piece, I don't have that because what I was trying to get with it was, what is it called? The light that shines through the camera, bokeh. I was trying to get a bokeh effect. So what I did was I added a camera lens blur. So you'll see this start to change, and it has more of like a bokeh look onto it, which at first I thought it was really cool, but because I was trying to get like a little like cinematic look. I recently saw a film where they had some really cool like bokeh effect in the background. And so I was just basically trying to replicate that. And so the camera, hey cousin, it's King. Oh, hi King. Sorry, I'm so distracted with in here. I didn't notice all the chat. Hey chat, what's going on? Miguel in here. Limeria? How do you say that? If I pronounce your name wrong, correct me, okay? Because everyone says my name wrong, and sometimes I have to correct them. So, okay. So yeah, we are just looking at some nice bokeh in here. So the way to achieve that, and honestly, I think the camera lens blur is very underrated. I'm obsessed with it. So what I'm doing is I'm basically creating a map for it to blur. So Lima D. Okay, I think that's it. That's a chat name. I'm not just saying random words. Okay. So let's look at this camera blur. So I'm going to actually throw in some footage just because I want you guys to get a good idea of what this does. You know who does a really amazing tutorial for this? Jake in Motion. Jake Bartlett. He is like one of the best, but he does a similar thing to this. So let's just grab a photo of a street with no blur. This one has blur. See how this nice bokeh is here? We could basically create that all in After Effects. And why you would want to do that is because you could start to create like faux cameras and really create like that cool cinematic look, which is what I was trying to do in the initial concept. So I'm just going to download this. I have a whole bunch of licenses that I pay for, so I'm like, yeah, one is the matter. Okay, so let's look at this. So I'm actually gonna change this to 1920 just so you could get a little view of it. Okay, so if I'm actually it's so bright. Does anyone like feel like it's like I like dark mode on everything, so when something is like significantly bright, I feel like an old person. I'm like I hate it. So I'm just gonna turn this down real quick because it's roasting my eyes right now. Okay, so I'm going to create a solid, and I'm actually just going to put a map on it. So what I'm going to tell After Effects is I want you to put a blur wherever I set my map to. So let's put on gradient map. Let's bring this down. And then I'm going to add a adjustment layer. And then I'm going to put on the camera lens blur. And I am going to tell camera, I want you to grab this blur map of this ramp. And you'll see now that I have this off, so this is without it, and I could bump this all the way up so that we can see it a little more. And then, too much. I'm going to actually change this to be a little up more. What's great is so you could use the map, but I think what might actually work better is using a shape layer because we could use multiple colors. So I'm just gonna create this real quick. So I'm gonna do white, black, white. Okay. Let's put this white, and then create a white right here. And I'm going to tell the adjustment, hey, I want you to grab the mapping. Let me turn this off first so you could see. I want you to grab the mapping of this shape layer. So now you could see that where it's black, the blur isn't happening. And so you can get this kind of look where it has like this really nice bokeh effect where you could start adding little lights in it. So let's go back to this and put that into our scene. Let's see. Turn this star glow off and turn this down just a little more, just so we could see it. So you could start to see the bokeh start to come through. And what I think is really cool about it is that you can change the bokeh size. So you can go in here and it will change the way that they come through. So I'm just gonna bump that up a little more. You could see that the shape of it is starting to change. I think let's do it a little more so we could see it better. See how it's a triangle right here? So you could change the bokeh to be like a different size. And so if you change your mind and you're like, oh, I want to do something else, you could just easily change it. So instead of having to individually change the mask of all of those, you can create very nice, authentic looking bokeh into your scene. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it. Oh, Asher says team dark mode for sure. You're my type of friend because all of my friends, including Christian, has their screen at like 100% brightness. And I don't understand. I feel like they like their retinas to burn because why else would you want your screen that way? Well, to be fair, he does wear glasses. So maybe Maybe that just adds to it. But to be fair, I also wear glasses as well. So yeah. Okay. So now that we've gone over the camera blur, I'm actually going to turn that off because camera blur is something that you add at the end. You don't want to add it when you're barely starting out because it's too much. Any blur, the Gaussian blur is the worst. Of all the blurs, oh, he said, say my name. Bro, I'm going to call you Kerfas. There it is. I tried it and that, bro, that's it. I know that's it. Now it's just going to be a test of whose name is more complicated. How about you say my name? Okay. Why don't we put a live chat on you? So let's hop into my little face inside. So I'm going to show you how I did this, okay, this technique that I'm going to show you, I stumbled upon, and I'm glad that I figured it out because it's changed my life, and it's going to change every future project that I do after this. So let's hop into Cinema 4D. I'm going to close this real quick. Wait, do I have anything open? Let's see. Oh, no. I don't have anything open. Don't have any tabs open. I'm going to close After Effects real quick just so they're not running at the same time and we can be able to see the program without it malfunctioning. So let's look at this footage. Let's go into this. Okay. So this one didn't work, but how many hours did you put into this? So it was about in total. So my portion and Arthur's portion, I think it took a little bit over a week. So about maybe like a week and a half. So to like conceptualize this, do all the pre-production of it, do all the 3D part of it. That's what was kind of tricky about this, was that this was all kind of like brand new when it came to like us working together. I've never worked in Unity, but I know that the renderer is like I see some crazy renders come out of Unreal Engine. Like, have you guys seen the stuff that comes out of there? Like even the meta human stuff that comes out of there, that is just insane. That's what I feel like the animators who were like animating back in the day thought that their work looked like, but it's by far just amazing. So for this, what I did, and I'm going to talk about this solved camera because it literally changed so much for me. And I think moving forward, it's going to change a lot of projects for me. So I have basically like the camera movement. You can see that the camera is kind of like moving along with my face. So I've tried tracking in bokeh, and I've tried tracking in like the native, like 3D tracker or After Effects' native tracker, and it doesn't give as bokeh tries, and I love bokeh, and I'm not gonna shit on bokeh because bokeh is really amazing. But for here, the one thing that I needed was the 3D camera. Because I was going to work in the 3D space, it only made sense that the parallax of what was going on in my face was like actually happening within like the real camera, or just tracking my face more so. So that's the thing that bokeh doesn't do. Well, maybe they do. Maybe I just don't know. But this definitely made my life easier. So what I did was I'm actually just going to show you with a new video. So let's go over here, change the layout to motion tracker, and I'm just going to import some footage. So the thing about the footage that you're going to import, you want to import a PNG sequence rather than an MOV. I don't even know if you can import an MOV, but we're not going to do that today. Ooh, you guys almost saw my project that hasn't been released yet. Act like you didn't see that. We're moving forward. Okay. So let's look at the footage. Should be in here. Okay, green screen test, camera footage. Okay, awesome. So I already went ahead and exported out a PNG sequence of the footage. And so what I did, oh, we creatures. Hey, hi. Karstros. I hope that's how you pronounce it. I hope I was close with that. I really tried. Okay, so I exported out just the PNG sequence. So it's just the video footage, but it's all in PNG image sequences. So I am just going to import one and it should import the rest of it. So if we play this back, there it goes. It automatically is in there. Perfect. Okay. So next we are just going to, we have the step change, blah, blah, blah. We are going to change the resampling rate. So what this is going to do is just increase the amount of samples that it's going to grab from. And to be honest, like unless you're using like insane 8K footage or like 4K footage that's like 5 minutes long, I don't really see the downside of having your resampling be 100%. I always say the more the better, especially if your computer can handle it. Okay, so I am just going to resample that, and then I'm going to play back everything so that it's uploaded in the cache. So when it starts resampling, it doesn't need to like reload for every single frame. It's already in there and it knows what it's working with. So once this is done, then we will move into the tracking of it. So there's like two types of tracking. There's the 2D tracking and then the 3D solve. So the 2D tracking is you taking footage and it tracking that. The 3D solve is it creating a camera, a 3D camera within that footage. So now that we have all of our cache pushed in there, we're just going to move that to the beginning. And then we're going to go to the 2D tracking. And I'm just going to automatically create these auto tracks. So, wait, let me see. No, yeah, I'm going to do this auto track instead. So I'm just going to move forward on this. And you can see down here that it's going to process the frames. And it's going to take like 2 seconds. If you're using like insane footage, I think this is like 1080 by 1920. So we're not working in 4K. So it should go by pretty quickly, but it's just going to the same way that every single tracking system like bokeh and After Effects does, where it just analyzes the footage. So you could see that it has already tracked a whole bunch of points on here. And my main goal is to try to find points. So here was what I did, which was very big brain of me. I didn't know that I was going to end up doing it this way, but I tried to figure out what was all the possible case scenarios of me bringing in this footage and what I would need to work with. So before I even like started this technique, I had painted myself green first, and then I put all these track points on my face. And so I was like, okay, at least at one point, if I'm going to need to cut it out, hopefully I can hold on to like one of these track points and just cut it out that way. So lucky me, I put these track points on and they actually stay on the whole time, which is really, really awesome. So I'm just going to actually delete the rest of these because I don't even need them. They're useless. Don't need you. Don't need you. I really just want these ones because these ones are the pretty ones. Okay. I'll just do that for right now. Okay. All right, so next we are going to make a 3D camera for this. So I'm gonna go to the 3D solve here, and then I'm going to run the 3D solver in this point. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna take all the current points that I have here, and it's just going to create a 3D camera for that. And you can see down here, it's Can you see that down there? You can't really see down there. Wait, let me try to bring this up a little. Now you can see down there. Sorry, our handy donation bar was there. Oops, didn't even notice it was there. Did you notice it was there? Because why it's there is for a good reason. We're trying to raise money for the kids. So if you like this stream and you had to have kids have computers, then maybe you should donate. So now that our solve is finished, you could see that the camera, let me actually pull out. So let's move this. Oh wait, actually first, before we do that, I'm going to create a constraint. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my beginning point. Make sure okay. And I'm just going to click on this, and I think, let's actually check this out real quick. Oh, I hit undo too many times. Gosh, we have to run it again. All right, run it again. Run it back. It's like it never happened. But after, I'm actually just going to create a position constraint. So it will just stay to that track, which is what we need. What computer do you use? I use an iMac 2019 i7, I think. It's been pushing. Like, honestly, I have been using Mac. I think I've been using Mac more because I'm so used to like the operating system. And I just like the controls of it. I also just like the interface. I think it's just clean. But there are a lot of limitations to it. Like the fact that I can't have an NVIDIA graphics card in here makes it very difficult, because things like Cinema 4D, like Octane, I can't run that renderer through this computer. And so sometimes I'm running into some walls when it comes to trying to render stuff out because of the fact that I don't have a graphics card like that, and I can't just put it in, you know? But I think maybe, I know they have like the towers and stuff, but those are like all Amran's graphics cards. And, you know, I don't know much about it, but what I do know is that it's cool. It works, but I definitely think that I could do better on it. You hear that dog? You guys don't hear that dog. Do you hear that dog? It's just a neighborhood dog just causing chaos. Yeah, so I also saw that there is like this little box that you can buy for your Mac as well. And I seen that runs faster. Let me actually, I'll need to check in what that is. I just got here with tracking points, just added in Cinema 4D. Were those also drawn on your face in real life? So yes, I did draw these black track points on in real life so that it would be easier to track. And I'm really glad that I did, because it has all those track points stayed on. So I'm just going to create a position constraint right there. And then now, let's see this camera real quick. Let's go to standard. Okay, and it should turn off. Let's see. Where's this camera at? There it is. Okay. So you could see now that these are all of our points that were made. These are like the 3 that were on my face. And now it's just going to have a camera that is working within that space. So look at this, look at that, which is perfect, because what I needed was to work in 3D space and to be able to have that camera track on to my face. So what I was able to do with this was I was able to take the Cinema 4D file and send it over to Arthur, which he imported in Unreal. And so he was able to take my video tracking data and use it for a 3D camera. So I tried tracking it in Bokeh and in After Effects, but it just didn't give the perspective because it didn't have the accuracy of the camera moving around. So that's the benefit of using the motion tracker in Cinema 4D. I'm a big fan of it now, and I'm definitely going to use it from like here on out. But it's really nice. Like I love that you can just have the camera in here and you could attach things to it. The one thing I will say, if you are working in Unreal and you have a Cinema 4D camera that you want to import in, you need to make sure that you have at least one object in there. For some reason, we were getting a crash every time that we had brought in the camera by itself. So what I did was I just brought in I just made a cube and then saved the project file and then gave it off to him. But it was the most weirdest issues that we were running into when we were converting basically our Cinema 4D camera to Unreal. So if you're looking to do that, just know there are some technical issues that you could run into. Also, big thing, making sure that your frame rate matches your camera. Just because you want to make sure that when you send the camera over, that the camera is moving in accordance. So if you shot this at 24 frames per second and your camera is moving 30 frames per second, it's going to be off. And that goes for any type of tracking in After Effects or in bokeh. If you're using a camera in a composition that has like 30 FPS, but then your video footage is 24 frames, you're going to run into some issues. So you don't want to do that. So let's go back into our project file. Did you guys see what that was? That top link? That top project? That was a Skillshare link. Yeah. Skillshare course is about to come out. I haven't even announced it yet, but you guys now know. It's gonna be dope. I'm going deep in the cuts in the Skillshare class. So yeah. So now that we kind of understand the whole setup of that, no. So all the files, all the assets that we used, I just got from like a 3D site where we were just able to get like models and stuff. And so now with all those models, I tried throwing in Cinema 4D. It didn't look that good. And so Arthur was able to run it through Unreal and add all these beautiful textures on here. And someone thread that. Don't thread that. It's a secret. This is a secret between us. Okay? We have a family bond here. You're not supposed to tell anyone, Miguel. So yeah, we have our inside of our face. And so one thing, so this is just the footage by itself, but there's a lot of different elements that are on here. So we have the footage of myself. So you'll see that there's like weird little cutouts. And the reason why we did that was so that I lived behind this footage. So let me actually turn this on so you could see. So I'm gonna lock this. Here's like a little tip. Make sure that your composition is locked at the top so that you can open up other compositions on the other end. So you'll see that the color is a little off, and that's just because we have a lot of color adjustments on here in the end, but I don't have them toggled on right now just so we could not spend as much computing power. Actually, let me close out of Cinema 4D because we don't need that open. No, don't save that. No, don't save it. We don't need it. Okay. So you'll see in this footage, it's like cut out. So Arthur had given me the footage of the stuff on top, like the objects on top, so that I could put myself underneath. And so I needed to composite it really well. So you'll start to see there's so many pre-comps. It's a comp within a comp within a comp. So you'll see this, and then here's me sitting, and here's me also sitting, and then here's me sitting, and finally here's the main footage, which is also another pre-comp of me sitting. So look at this line of pre-comps, and it's just because we have added so many different effects on afterwards. So let's just start from the very beginning of it. So I'm a very big fan of looping my animations, and one thing that I do on here is I loop back from the beginning. So you'll see once it renders. Actually, let's just put this on quarter. We don't need full resolution. So you'll see it loop, boom, and that's something that is very hard to do with video. Video looping is just, there's so many different elements that come into play. So if I am trying to keep this animation the same, where I'm just moving my hand back and forth, say I time it right, but even if I timed it to show up here on the 1st second and on the 5th second, the odds of me being exactly where I was is damn near impossible. So a great way to get around that, this is a little secret for you guys, is using AI. Yes, I use AI to add some stuff onto it. So I'm actually going to show you what that looks like. Okay. So I use Runway AI for all of my looping stuff. You'll see I will have like a whole bunch of different clips of me in here. Here was like the initial video. So what I do is I basically grab the first frame and the last frame, and I put a frame interpolation between them. So what I do is if I want my scene to, I want to get roughly the same amount of, I don't want the AI to do too much because it'll start to look fake. So it is kind of smart to move within the same position. Like if I'm going to move and I want it to start from beginning to end, it would make sense that I start here and I end there. But if I start here and then the last frame is this, the work that the AI has to do to get from this point to this point is significantly harder. Oh, Motion by Nick is in here. Love you, dude. You're the best. So let's look at how we can loop some of this footage. So if we look at this first, let's try to find, so we have this first frame, and let's use this last frame. So we'll see that back to back. So you see there's totally like a cut in between. Not that smooth. But what we can do is I'm just going to grab this and render this photo out. And then I'm going to grab the beginning and render this photo out. So once I've rendered both photos out, then I will go back to my frame interpolation, and I will take the first frame and the last frame. So what I want to do is put the last frame first and the first frame last. And the reason why we're going to do that is because we're going to put this video at the end so that it loops back to the beginning. So I will put frame 287 first, and then I will put frame 0 second. And so I want it to be 1 second long. And so we're going from this frame to this frame. And what this is going to do is it's going to generate a frame interpolation between the two. So it's going to try to create the frames that they think are between those two. And you'll see it's just a slight little movement, and it's super smooth. So instead of just having the opacity go up to down, this is just a way smoother way of doing it. So what I would do is I would just export this out and put it into my composition at the very end. The downside, here's the con of this. So it's very amazing to be able to do this type of effect. But the downside is that for some reason, and I've reached out to Runway about this, it has this weird color change. So you could kind of see, look at that color change. It's super significant. They don't have a fix right now, which I'm kind of bummed about. But it's when you're using like green screen or just using any video in general, trying to match the color of what it looked like beforehand, it's just a hassle. And I hope that they can patch that, because it's definitely not something on the user's end. I've tried to like export it out in different formats and see if that works, but I get the same result where it's just a color thing. And when I reached out, they were like, oh yeah, we're looking into it. So bummer on that, but there's just weird solves that I did to try to fix that. What I did was I just tried to put the legs that were like significantly color changed. Like I try to get a still from a previous shot and put that on top of it, but it's very like not the way that it should be. It makes it very hard for people to use. So the next pre-comp is just looping that footage together. So I actually wanted the movement of the hand to kind of start like a little later. Like I didn't want it to start right at the beginning, which is where it originally was. And so I just moved that footage around. And then I move into keying. So I have been becoming a very, very big fan of Red Giant's Primat Keyer. I did like a review video of it. There are some cons to it. I think the biggest con is that it just is very hard to get into, you know, like it's kind of like it's not very user friendly, I would say. So there is kind of like a learning curve with that, but once you figure all these buttons out, it is pretty damn good, not gonna lie. It's definitely better than Keylight. Having this type of hairstyle and keying is just an absolute nightmare. Like it's terrible. It's not fun. So with all of these different things, it has like an auto key, but it also just kind of keys out. So I can kind of show you. Look at that. Look at all these ripples. This is not how you want to shoot on green screen. You want to shoot on a way better green screen than what this is, because this is, I should learn from me. Don't be me, because this is, what is the saying? Do as I say and not as I do, because this is doo-doo. So I'm just going to add the Primat on here so I could show you. Also, I just love the edges on it. The edges in comparison to Keylight is like significant. It's like really bad. So what I'm going to tell Keylight is, hey, I want you to grab all of these pixels and key it out. And so you'll start to see like this weird color change, but we're going to throw that detail back in. And now I'm just going to get some of this color out. So the great thing about Primat that is different from Keylight, so Keylight grabs one specific color pixel and it uses the effects around that one color pixel. But as you can see, I have all these different colors because my green screen is wrinkled and it doesn't look good. So I am just going to get all of these pixels, and you could start to see them slowly but surely get out. So I just want to roughly get all these out. You can see there's still a little detail in here that needs to get cut out. But yeah. And then once you like feel like, okay, this is good, I got most of the color out, you can then go to the foreground filler. So this will, see, look at that color coming right back in. Don't look at my pits. I don't think I shaded in this video, so we're not going to get super close up on that. But I'm just bringing all this color back in, color in my hair, making sure the opacity is good on that. Okay, and then we could use still some of this. And you could start to see this kind of disappear. It's little by little, which I think is great, because when it starts taking out a big chunk, sometimes you could lose more detail that way. So I kind of just like going in and fixing these pixels manually. So yeah, look at that. And then you can go in and add add one thing that I super love that I always run into is like some of my hair detail gets lost. So not showing you the pit. So I tried to turn down the opacity a little bit on these. And then I'll bump up this color correction. You can start to see that green go away. One thing I super love is this spill killer. Look at that. I mean, you have the advanced spill suppressor, but I just feel like it kind of cleans it up without having to super crush all the detail. And then, yeah, just a little track matte there. Look at that. That's a pretty clean key. It's a little more work than key light, but I still think that it does the job. And so after, it should look like this. And then going into the color. So this was kind of a big thing that I was running into, which was matching the color to the scene. So you'll see that there is like this bright sun that comes through. Let me turn this down real quick. Oh, that's too down. That's so pixels. Let's do half so you can see a little bit. Okay. So I think in the beginning, let's see. So you'll start to see like this window kind of like wash out the color, which is like kind of a lot when we're working with the color that we currently have. So I think, yeah, I have two different, let's see. Oh, so it was so significant that I needed to just color my hair. So, because my hair was so dark against this like black background, my hair was just like incredibly dark. So I just add a Lometry color on it, just cranked down the saturation and bumped up the exposure a whole bunch. I try to change the tint to match the color of the background, but I think I had manually gone in here and kind of changed the saturation, exposure, contrast, because there's such a huge light significant change like you could see in here. And so I'm basically just trying to match and composite well with the original background. That's kind of the big thing, is that you kind of want to sell your scene and make it seem like you're really in there. So yeah, and it was like two different ones that I did for my hair because my hair was just so dark. And then here we have the 3D Solve camera. So what's great is not only did I get to send the camera to Arthur for him to work with, but I also got to use the camera as well by using the Cineware plugin. So what I did was I just added, so I have the Cinema 4D file. I'm just going to drop that. I think it just dropped that here. Okay, so in this Cineware, it gives me a whole bunch of different options. What I only really need is I need to extract the camera from the scene. So I need to use the camera that was originally used in that footage and just take it. So I'll just hit extract. I already have the camera in here, but if you hit extract, not only will it take the camera, but it'll also take any nulls you have in there, and any other 3D assets that you have. It'll just pull it right in there, which is great. What keeps you motivated? You know what keeps me motivated? Like I was saying before, all of these like references and inspiration, going on Pinterest and like just seeing what other creators are creating, that stuff gives me so much fuel. I think especially on days where like they're like off days and I'm like not doing anything, I think those are days I'm like most motivated. When I'm working, the motivation isn't as high. It's like the lead up to it, which is like a lot higher. But I think that the creative flow, the inspiration, all that stuff kind of comes in when I am just creating a good design. That like the inspiration for that, or the motivation for that, really comes from just being inspired by a whole bunch of different artists. I also like have curated my like Instagram to be just a whole bunch of different artists. So that's why like I'm not following like a whole bunch of people. I mean, that and like the ratios. But I don't follow, like, I try not to follow things that will get me distracted. Like I love, okay, this is, I threaded about this the other day, but I love slime videos and I will get super caught up watching those. And so I try not to follow any of them because I'm like, I don't need to surround them in my life. So I just try to surround myself with it. It's a lot easier when I feel like, what's like the saying where it's like the friends that you hang out with is like who you become. And I think it's like the same way of like the artist that you surround yourself by is like the artist that you will become. So yeah, hope that answered your question. For the next pre-comp, which was me trying to get the chair in front of my legs, because obviously I just have, let's see, me sitting. You could see that in the final, I have a chair in front of me. But because of the 3D camera change, the actual chair kind of shifts and moves, and instead of masking that out completely, what I did was I just took the seat and I just masked that with a simple bokeh track. So what I did was I brought it in bokeh, and let's open this in full res. So I brought the camera footage in bokeh. So the PNG sequence that was sent back to me, I put that in bokeh, and then I just tracked that. So I just tracked this footage. So you can see, boom, boom, boom. And then I masked that out, and then I put that on top of my footage. So that's why this is above my footage of myself, so that it looks like I'm sitting in a chair. So then that's basically this main comp is not only that, but this super comp. So this also goes along with the compositing with the scene. I think that super comp just does all of it. So maybe we'll have to get into super comp later, unless you guys want me to. But yeah, it just has all these like really cool, easy, accessible effects that you would have to like manually throw on, like adding like tons of effects in After Effects natively. But in here, it's just all kind of together. So there are, let me be honest with you, it is not user friendly in the sense of like, I don't think that someone can just hop in here without watching at least like 3 tutorials on it. I think there's still a lot of things that need to be figured out with some of like the tweaks of it. But it's just not, it's not there yet. One thing, I was on the VFX and Chill live stream, and one of the things that I was talking to them about is how it kept crashing on me. Like I straight up have project files where like I can't open them because Super Comp is in there with another plugin. And what the thing is a shape layer. Apparently you can't have a shape layer in the same comp as Super Comp. So this is 2023 July. So hopefully in the future, you don't have this issue, whoever's watching this. And who's ever watching this now, you're going to have this issue. So yeah, there's just a lot of cool different effects. One of my favorite things is that you can color correct this scene, like this video, to your background pretty easily. So I'll kind of show you real quick what this looks like and how easy. So with Lumetri, you would have to like manually, you know, change the Lumetri. Yeah, you'd have to go in and manually change everything. But with this, you don't have to do any of that. So let's take our footage. So let's just grab this, and then let's just grab video of me sitting. Let's see. Yeah, let's grab this footage. Revealed source finder. Okay. So look at this. So I'll grab this footage and put it above my camera footage. Oh, this isn't keyed out yet. Hold on. I'm going to grab the one that's keyed out more. do this one. Okay, this one is keyed. Reveal. Okay, I'm gonna copy, paste. No, not paste, copy. There. Okay, so you'll see that this footage is on top of my background. So if I have super comp, let's just grab this and add the effect. Go to Red Giant, go to super comp. Don't look at my armpits. And then go to color correct. So I'm now just going to click one button and it's going to match it pretty darn good. I mean, with one button, that's something that I would have to do with curves and saturation and all these things. And like, obviously you could go in and like change it to fit just a little better. But like for just a one click of a button, it's pretty darn good, not gonna lie. So I'm a big fan of super comp. Just it being so quick to be able to do all these different effects, I think is very beneficial. So yeah, that's basically how I comped everything into our main scene. And yeah, on top of that, what I did was I added these gradient maps on top of it. So you'll see my footage, and I'll just add these one by one. So the reason why I added these gradient maps in here, I'm gonna unlock this and open our main comp. Okay. So the reason why I added these gradient maps was so that I could create that depth inside of my face. So this is without it. So there's not a whole lot of depth. It kind of looks like it's cut out of my face, or it's like placed on top of my face, and I want it to seem like it's on the inside of my face. So once I start adding these maps on here, you could start to see the depth kind of be created within my scene, so that it kind of has, you know, has the depth. Has good depth. That's the word of the day, is depth. Hi, A1 since day one. Okay, so that's basically how I did all of the compositing for that. I have the ripples for the sides. So basically just trying to make it seem like it's not just cut out of my face, because if you just take the original footage and the background, it just looks like I place like a sticker on my face, and I want it to look like it's cut inside my face. So what I did was I created this rim to make it seem like it is kind of like carved out. And I did this by creating a mat with the original green screen footage of my face. So remember, I had painted my face green right there. So let's look into that. So look at that. Okay. That's just my little green screen face. A1 sauce. Oh, I'm dead. Okay, so the way that I got this cut out of my face is I used bokeh to cut it out. So I had tracked it in bokeh, and then I used the create a mask tool. So let's close that. Never show me this again. Okay. So you can see I have the track right above it, and you can see it kind of track all the way through. Kind of sticks on. Look at that. That's a good track. bokeh does a really good job at tracking stuff. So, I mean, I had to go in some of the frames and manually fix it, but for the most part, that's some pretty darn good tracking. And so once I had this tracking information, I saved it and I brought it into After Effects, and I created an AE mask. So it just went in and created all these super overwhelming looking keyframes. But what it did was it just created a mask. And that's why I'm kind of glad that I had the green around my face, was because I had such high contrast between the green and the color of my skin. And so being able to track this in Mocha, I think it made that whole computing process a little easier to do. So yeah, that was, boom, amazing. And so once I had a good track, then I was able to create a rim from it. So I created the track, and then I duplicated it. So let's look at the second one. So I duplicated it, and I put a simple choker on it, and I put that above it. So what I told it to do was, okay, let's pull back. This can get confusing. Just hold on. So I have my original track, okay? Let's turn this off. So I have my effects on here. Let's look at the layer styles. Okay, so I have a color fill. I have some layer styles on here. But as you can see, it fills up my entire face, and I don't want it to do that. I want it to just do the inside. So I need to invert it. And the way that I do that, if I just were to duplicate it and try to create a track matte from that, then it's just going to cancel itself out. But as you can see, if I make it smaller, you could start to see the rim kind of come out. So the idea is that I need to make the inside of it cancel out. I need the inside to cancel itself out, and so it just shows the outside. So if I make it a little smaller, then that's how I can create the rim, and it's still tracked on to our original footage because it's basing all of it off of this original frame. So I'll just add the track matte on, and you can see that's where that rim came from. And so if you run this through, this will be aligned with the tracking of my face. If you wanted to be crazy, you could mask it out frame by frame and try to create a rim, but that's insane. You would be a literal insane person. I'm not judging you, but I kind of am if you were to do it that way. So that's how I created the rim of that. And so just to sell it a little more, I added these cool ripple effects. So this just added a little bit of highlight to make it seem like it was beveling out. Usually when you're working with things like these fake edges, trying to sell it with the bevel is the way to go. Like these layer styles that are native to After Effects, which are, you could put any layer style on any layer. It's right here. If you right click and click layer styles, these are just amazing. And so adding this little highlight kind of makes it seem like there's a little bit of light hitting the edge, but really there's no light at all. And I basically did the same technique of using the rim, but I'd masked out little parts of it so that it didn't show the entire side. So this is the rim, and then these are the little masks. So it doesn't highlight every single part of it because I don't want it to do that, because then it would just look like a stroke, and I don't want it to look like a stroke. And so with all of these different like layer styles, we're very much working in like a 2D workflow. And so learning how to composite this with realistic footage, that's where it starts to get tricky. So great ways to hide a little bit of that is going back to the camera blur. So when you add something like the camera blur, these effects are still here, but they're just a little smoother. And it kind of puts this space into like a 3D world. Which I'm a big fan of, because when you're mixing medias together, I think that it could start to look a little janky if you're not like blending everything in well. And then for like final touches, I put on my Bang Yang shadow. So this is just trying to follow my little hairs. So you could start to see it creates a little shadow on my bangs. And so I try to create like this little looping shadow that overlaps this footage, so that it sells it just a little more. I think the big thing is when you're working with visual effects, you should always be thinking about the foreground and background, and just kind of like how you can make the piece more dynamic. Arlene, hi Arlene, how are you? Welcome to the chat. But yeah, this is basically how everything was created. I added some color on the end, and then I added some VHS texture on top of it, just to add a little bit of that grain in there, because if you're a designer and you don't use grain, are you really a designer? No, it's pretty, like, I feel like grain has just been a part of my style for so long, so it's what I use till this day, until the day that I die. If I don't use grain on an art piece, no, that's not my art piece. So yeah, that's the beginning to end process of how this was created. It's all very technical stuff. I hope that all made sense. It's a very crazy workflow. So to work with After Effects and Cinema 4D and Unity is just insane. So if you guys ever have any questions, I would like, what I think would be cool, is, oh, Vic, hey, what's up, Vic? Thanks for coming by. This is, that, by the way, for anyone who's new in here, this is like a charity live stream that I'm going to be doing on the regular, just so that we can earn some funds for JumpStart Designers, because we're trying to get computers to kids. I have a huge announcement, by the way, that I haven't announced because the contract is still being signed, but it's a pretty huge partnership that we are working with JumpStart, and JumpStart is about to blow up. I'm just letting you guys know now, but any money that's earned on this is going to go to our next program of kids. So this first program, we're set. We got the first set of kids who are good to go. But this next one, we want to make sure that we can keep this sustained. So any type of donations that you guys can give to JumpStart, that would be awesome, because I'm doing all this for free. I just want to help you guys out and also help out JumpStart. So and thanks for hanging out with me on Friday. So yeah, I want to do some future stuff, like where we break down some like really good like showcase of work. I also think that it would be cool breaking down some of your guys' project files. I'd love to like be able to see how like we can enhance it or make it better. So if you guys have like animations that you like are like, hey, I'd love to get a second eye on this, or what can I do to make it better? Let's like do that. I've also wanted to look at some amazing animations through Good Moves. Good Moves does like all these amazing animations that they always put out. I'd love to just have like a showcase of different things, and then we can rate them and judge them, because I know they'll be amazing. But for future ones, we're also gonna have like some big guests and like talk to some people and just hang out and just chill and not have any pressure, or just, you know, I'm sweating right now because it's hot. I swear I'm not sweating because I'm nervous. I'm just a little nervous, but this has been fun. I hope that you guys were able to grasp or just kind of hope I was able to explain well what was going on. But I'd love to dive into some future projects because I have a whole bunch. Like I have, let's see. Okay. Don't look. Oh wait, I need to hide this because you guys are trying to look at my other project files. Okay, like this one, I'd love to do like a breakdown of this. If you guys are interested, I love these little clouds, these little animated 2D clouds. How to loop that, I feel like was super crazy to figure that out. and it's been like my trademark now. So if you guys want to learn how to do like animated clouds like that, more than happy to do that. And then just kind of like the whole process of how to do these videos, because I think that, I mean, I've been working in After Effects for 10 years, since high school. So I have like some really bad animations from back in the day that like you guys would be like, oh gosh, that couldn't be you. But it surely was, because I had to start from somewhere. So let me try to find it, because I want you to feel like good about your work and know that this is where I started from, because it's not good. Let me see. I have so many photos. I don't have anything crazy in here. Ooh, but I actually recently did something super, super bad. I mean, not super bad, but I try to film in water for this next piece that I'm going to be dropping soon. Should I show you guys? Did we get a donation? Oh, what? Oh, I saw it before it came up. Oh my gosh. Brian, thank you. You're the best. Oh, does the sound go off when it... Oh my God. Brian. Man, you're so awesome. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Like I said, 100% of the proceeds go straight to JumpStart and just trying to get computers to kids. We're trying to get the best mentors out here, you know, try to make sure that these kids get to meet all their favorite artists. Like some of the big things that we're going to do, which I'll let you guys in on a few little secrets, but we're going to have like some people in the industry. This is, I don't know if any kids are watching this from the program, but we're going to be like, oh, like, who's your favorite artist? And they're going to be like, oh, I love this artist. And then we're going to try to connect with that artist and see if they would be interested in meeting with the kid and stuff. I've actually been mentoring this, bless her heart, I love her so much. Her name is Sophia. She is a 12-year-old artist. You know, I'm going to hype her up right now. You guys should follow her, because she's just this cute little artist, and she's so inspired. Like, she's always working. She's always sending me like her work, and it's just like, what do you think about this? And when I think about when I was 12, I don't even think I was that inspired. Like, I don't think that I was trying to work on a whole bunch of stuff then, you know? But she is. And what's crazy is I've been working with her for like a few months, I think from the beginning of the year. And since then, she's been diagnosed with cancer. And so she's been battling cancer while like being a designer, and then she's working every single day, and like she'll post on Instagram, and it is like the cutest thing in the world, because she's good. Like when I was 12, I guarantee you I was not making this good quality of stuff then. Like I feel like I was definitely making just like music videos to like 50 cents, candy shop, like not good, not things that a kid should be making, you know? But look at her stuff. This is 12 years old. Okay. And she, look at this. This is great. I don't know about you guys, but this has been like super inspiring to just see and be able to watch her growth. And she's just absolutely adorable. This is her. Oh my gosh. So cute. I love her. So if you guys want to give her a follow and tell her that she's amazing, I know that she would absolutely appreciate it. But yeah, in the program, we're going to be mentoring kids, so they'll be able to like talk with the mentors and have one-on-ones with them. They're going to have like a full-on like 12-week course with them. So for 12 weeks, they'll basically have like little homework assignments and stuff. It is the cutest thing ever. So yeah. Oh, I was trying to show you guys my bad work, but then I got distracted by Brian. Thanks, Brian. That was a good That was a good distraction. But yeah, I have, oh, here it is. Okay. I'm going to send it to my computer so that you guys could see this. Oh, it's so bad. All right. I'm going to show this because for anyone out there who like, you know, may feel down about their work, know that this was the stuff that I was making. Alex, I'm a little late, but I'll try not to mix it. Don't miss the next one. We're going to be doing this often, but thanks for coming. We're still talking and hanging out. So if you want to just hang out, you're more than welcome to. We're just going through a blast through the past, looking at my terrible artwork. I think a lot of them might be some of my best work. I think I peaked at that time. Okay, let's see. Ooh, okay. All right. Oh, look at that. This is some visual effects. All right, you guys want to see some visual effects. You ain't ready for no visual effects. Look at this. Okay, hold on. Let's bring this in. Rotate it. Hold on. Let's get out of this project file. Don't save it. We don't want to oversave anything. Okay. This is so bad. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's rotate it. This is my scene days, okay? So don't roast me on my hair. I know it was bad. Okay? Look at this. Ooh, turned a tomato to a potato. That's magic right there. What do you mean? Look at this romper. Bra straps hanging out. I don't care. This is high school. You know, I was thinking about adding a little bit of that blonde back in here, but yeah, look at that. That's some visual effects. Let's see what else we got. Oh, that's a bad one. I'm not showing that one. Oh, this is an Alice in Wonderland door. Okay, I've always been inspired by Alice in Wonderland, and so you'll see how I just absolutely killed it on this door. Okay, let's see. 1920 by 1080. This ratio is killing me. Let's see. These videos are private, by the way. They're from my old YouTube channel, but you can't see them because they're terrible. Look at this door, though. Look at that door. I thought that was so... at that time, I was like, this is so good. Oh, this was like this whole short film that I made. It was Alice in Wonderland thing. I wanted to be a filmmaker, guys. Like, look at this. Look at falling asleep. Look at these clocks. I best believe those were not copyright free. Drink Me. I did that. Look at that. Look at that. This is yes. There's that door. Oh, it's so bad. It's terrible. Oh. Yeah, those are good times, you know. Here's some. Oh yeah. Those are great. So if any of you guys ever feel like, man, my work, just remember, this is my stuff. Oh, it's so bad. Okay, I don't know if you guys could see all of it being clear because I think there's a lag, so I'll just have to show you. But that's a bad start, but it was so great because I learned so much. Like when I had first started, I was making all these videos and I was like, this was something that I wanted to do as a kid. And so putting these videos out and having like friends and family, you know, reach out and tell me that it was funny, like, gosh, that gave me so much like happiness, and that made me feel so fulfilled. And I'm just glad that I was able to put it out and no one like shot me down. I think my film teacher did like shoot me down a little bit. There was a time where she was evil. I'm like, we're not going to get into that, but she definitely was not a good person. And it was ever since I told her I wasn't going to work for her. So she'll never forgive me. But where is she now? She's not doing a live stream. Not with 20 people watching. Bet you she ain't. She got like 3, maybe. Nah, I hope she's good. I don't. But yeah, that's a look into what I do. And I want to do some really cool, fun things in the future. So if you guys have any suggestions, Arlene, what inspired you to start the program? It's so great you're doing this. For JumpStart, I mean, I think the big thing was that I was just a little kid that, I mean, when I think about all the opportunities that I have now, like working with all of my favorite musicians that I've ever wanted to work with and working with brands that like I've always wanted to work with, I think was like really like inspiring for me. Like just looking back at where I started and knowing that I wouldn't be here today without starting that, it made me realize, like, I wonder how many kids don't have the access to be able to have these opportunities. Like, I'm so grateful that I'm in this position where I'm in today. And I feel like I wouldn't be here if I didn't have that first laptop. And I totally understand that there's a lot of dreams, especially digital art dreams, that are reliant on having money. And I just think about all the kids out there that are so creative and just don't have access to the tools. And it makes me like super sad. And so I was like, I don't have much, but I have a platform, so I'm going to try my best to raise as much money as I can to get this program up and going. And so we've been doing it. And not going to lie, it's a lot of paperwork to run a nonprofit, a lot of legal stuff. So yeah, if you guys are ever thinking about running a nonprofit, just know you better be good at Excel sheets, because it does matter. But yeah, I hope that answered your guys' questions. I'm super sweaty right now, so I need to like put a fan on. But thanks for coming and spending Friday with me. I think that, like I said, I want to do some cool stuff in the future. So send me a thread, tweet me some ideas, what you guys want to see, because I want to make this fun and hang out more. I think I want to do this like every week or every other week. If you guys are down to watch, I'm down to make it. And if you guys want to donate and help out, it would be much appreciated. So thanks again, Brian. You made us almost halfway to our goal, which is super, super awesome. I appreciate everyone who has donated so far. I hope that we can get to our $500 goal real soon so that all the kids can get computers. Well, at least half of a computer, because computers are expensive. The good ones are. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. I hope to talk to you soon, and have like a super awesome night, day. Bye.